Welcome to the Iraqi Dinar Update channel, your trusted source for the latest news, analysis, and insights on the Iraqi dinar. We provide up-to-date information on exchange rates, economic developments, and key financial trends affecting Iraq's currency. Whether you're an investor, trader, or simply keeping an eye on the market, our channel delivers accurate reports, expert opinions, and government policy updates to keep you informed. Stay tuned for real-time updates and in-depth discussions on the future of the Iraqi dinar. That's an ambitious word count for this concept, but I can certainly expand on it in great detail, incorporating financial background, historical context, and implications for currency valuation. Here's a long-form explanation. The idea that bondholders may be starting to receive payments is an important development in financial circles, particularly among those closely watching economic transitions, currency valuation shifts, and broader monetary reforms. However, it is crucial to differentiate between bond settlements and currency revaluation. These are two separate processes, operating under different mechanisms, and while one may signal that a significant financial event is approaching, it does not necessarily dictate or determine the specifics of the other. Bonds represent debt instruments issued by governments, institutions, or corporations to raise capital. When a bondholder receives payment, it generally means that the issuer has either reached a maturity date on a bond, is making good on its interest obligations, or is engaging in some sort of settlement agreement related to the restructuring or redemption of bonds. In some cases, bond settlements can be part of larger financial arrangements, particularly when they involve sovereign debt, historical bonds, or complex financial instruments tied to broader economic agreements. The settlement of bonds may involve intricate negotiations, international agreements, or financial institutions facilitating the distribution of payments. When reports begin surfacing that some individuals involved with bond transactions, such as facilitators, brokers, or direct bondholders, are receiving payments, it naturally raises questions about what this means for other financial developments, including the potential changes in currency value. In this case, if bond people are indeed starting to get paid, it suggests that a process that had long been anticipated or speculated about is now moving forward. The fact that some bond facilitators have reportedly received spendable dollars indicates that funds are becoming liquid and accessible, rather than just being promised, pledged, or existing in non-spendable accounts awaiting final release. However, as significant as this may be, it is important to clarify that bond payments and currency valuation are two separate gigs, meaning they operate independently of one another. A government or financial institution might decide to settle outstanding bond obligations for a variety of reasons, including fulfilling long-standing agreements, improving financial credibility, or closing out past commitments before implementing new policies. None of these necessarily require or trigger a revaluation of currency. The process of a currency adjustment, whether through devaluation, appreciation, or a shift to a floating rate, is guided by distinct economic principles, central bank policies, market dynamics, and external financial pressures. That being said, the timing of bond payments could be an indicator of larger financial movements. If bondholders are receiving funds, especially in significant amounts, it implies that liquidity is being injected into the system. This can often be a precursor to broader financial actions, as governments and institutions prefer to clear certain financial obligations before undertaking major monetary reforms. While it does not confirm an imminent change in currency valuation, it does suggest that the broader financial restructuring is progressing. The critical question that follows is whether this means a currency revaluation is near. The answer remains elusive. No one outside of the highest levels of decision-making entities such as central banks, government financial departments, or international regulatory bodies can provide a definitive timeline. There are often many moving parts in financial overhauls, and while certain events may align, they do not necessarily correlate in a direct cause and effect manner. For instance, a country might choose to settle bonds because it has reached a new agreement with creditors, has obtained financial backing from international institutions, or has decided to close out legacy financial commitments ahead of restructuring its economy. In contrast, a currency adjustment, whether through a managed float, a peg realignment, or a shift in monetary policy, requires a combination of economic stability, trade considerations, inflation management, and external regulatory approvals in some cases. The speculation surrounding currency revaluation has always been fueled by various financial activities that people attempt to interpret as signs of an imminent change. While bond payments are one such event, there have been numerous instances where financial settlements have taken place without any direct impact on currency value. That said, in cases where monetary reforms do follow such payments, it typically means that a government or financial authority was waiting for certain obligations to be met before moving forward with a larger plan. This is where the psychological and speculative aspects of financial markets come into play. Many investors and observers look for signals, anything that could hint at an approaching change. The confirmation that bond facilitators have received spendable dollars adds to the sense that movement is happening behind the scenes, even if the exact details remain unknown. The transition from non-spendable funds to accessible, liquid payments suggests that something is being finalized, but what exactly is being finalized remains open to interpretation. If financial institutions, central banks, or government entities are involved in coordinating bond payments, they may also be engaged in other financial restructuring efforts. In some cases, these processes are related. In others, they are merely coincidental. However, it is often true that large-scale financial transitions do not happen in isolation. Governments and financial entities typically aim to manage multiple aspects of an economic transition simultaneously, ensuring that various elements align before implementing major changes. The challenge in assessing these developments lies in the lack of concrete information. Official statements regarding currency policy are often scarce, and when they do exist, they are usually vague or designed to prevent speculation from disrupting financial markets. Thus, observers are left to analyze indirect signals, such as bond payments, policy changes, shifts in liquidity, or financial agreements that suggest preparation for something bigger. It is also important to consider historical precedents. In past instances where countries have undergone currency revaluation or monetary reforms, there have been periods where certain financial obligations were settled in advance. This included clearing outstanding debts, fulfilling long-term bond payments, or restructuring financial agreements with international partners. However, while these actions were often part of broader economic strategies, they did not always result in immediate currency changes. In some cases, they were preparatory steps, taken months or even years in advance. This leads to a fundamental point. While bond payments can be seen as a step in a larger financial sequence, they do not dictate the rate at which currency will be exchanged. The rate at which currency is valued is determined by complex economic factors, including inflation rates, trade balances, foreign reserves, market confidence, and policy decisions made by financial authorities. Bond payments, on the other hand, are about honoring past financial commitments. While the two processes might occur within the same time frame, their connection is often indirect rather than causal. Nonetheless, for those closely monitoring currency developments, the news that some bond facilitators have received spendable dollars is not insignificant. It suggests that at least one major financial process is moving forward, which could imply that other anticipated changes are also nearing execution. The fact that funds are now in a usable form rather than being held in a restricted state means that whatever agreements were in place are reaching their fulfillment stage. But does this mean a currency revaluation is imminent? The answer remains unknown. It could be soon, or it could still take time. There is no way to pinpoint an exact date without access to official directives and policy decisions that remained undisclosed to the public. While bond payments might suggest movement, they do not serve as an absolute confirmation of currency adjustments. In conclusion, Bond payments and currency revaluation are distinct financial processes. While there may be a correlation in timing, they are not inherently linked. The settlement of bonds signifies the completion of financial obligations, whereas currency valuation is driven by economic policy and market conditions. The confirmation that bond facilitators have received spendable dollars indicates that something is progressing, but it does not provide a definitive answer regarding the rate or timing of a currency shift. Observers will need to continue watching for further developments, knowing that while this event is noteworthy, it is just one piece of a much larger financial puzzle. Thank you for tuning in to the Iraqi Dinar Update channel. We appreciate your support and engagement as we continue to bring you the latest news, analysis, and updates on the Iraqi Dinar. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an important update. Stay connected with us for real-time insights, expert discussions, and market trends. Until next time, stay informed and keep watching for the latest on the Iraqi Dinar. Let's see you in the next update.